Hi everyone, this is Fatmanur. I'm a PhD candidate at Basel School of International Affairs, and my research investigates how smartphone use has shaped migrants' agency through visibility and invisibility during the border crossing along the Balkan Route. And it argues that beyond the threat or victim framing of the EU border policies, and smartphones serve as a key tool for migrants to exercise and expand their agency. As a part of this research, I conducted 3 months ethnographic research at North Macedonia. I interviewed with migrants at 2 transit camps and 1 reception center to understand the changes over the past decade. I also conducted online interview with migrants. They already use same route through the North Macedonia and arrived to Europe and currently living in there. And the Balkan route has been one of the most preferred routes for migrants to reach Europe for years, especially as the Mediterranean route has become a dangerous sea route, while much research has been conducted on border regimes and migrant experiences along this route, and most of its focus on Serbia, Greece, and Bosnia, and studies on North Macedonia are limited, and my research to contribute by focusing on relatively understudied region. And although borders are depicted as a lines of map, they emerge within this space as transnational, fragmented, biometric, intimate, and contracted out with proliferating spaces of confinement. And maps have played a significant role in the process of occupation through the drawing of borders and functioning as cartographic interventions that help impose a homogenizing order that has become increasingly important on global scale. However, borders are not linear geometric areas separating one from another. They are relational spaces built upon and lived in. Bordering is a space where political subjectivity and activism can be shaped through the debordering practices where political opportunities can emerge. And the border zones areas where state policies are implemented that aim at increase the visibility of migrants and render the border violence invisible. And on the other hand, visibility is not a one-way process aimed at making things visible. Rather, it's the regime that produces spaces of visibility and invisibility and determines when what can be seen and when it remains invisible. And structural violence and other forms of violence against migrants are often rendered invisible. And however, in border regimes, modern warfare and surveillance technologies aim to make migrants visible. This visibility is a situation they seek to create for themselves to capture and stop migrants. And these surveillance technologies and border policies aim to render migrants invisible in public spaces, deprive them of their political rights and legal rights. And furthermore, visibility in migration management serves not only as a means of surveillance and control, but also as a means of generating knowledge about migration and migrants. And states depend on migrants' practical knowledge to create risk maps and anticipate and manage potential scenarios based on migration crisis. And in short, visibility plays a role in detecting and controlling migrants themselves. Migrant movements, however, it has also been considered as a space where migrants manipulate visibility and invisibility, creating a strategic space for themselves. And tactical visibility used by both migrants and migration control actors and shows that visibility is a field of struggle that harbors the potential reverse and distort power relations. And in this struggle, migrants' most important tool is smartphone. And smartphones play a vital role in migrants' decision-making and during their journey. Before setting out, migrants learn about experiences of people who have gone before them by joining specific online group, especially on Facebook, Telegram, and TikTok, and often decide which country to migrate and which route to follow based on the information they gather there. And these perilous and challenging journeys, where all state institutions, borders, and police are against migrants, they have only one another to rely on, and they demonstrate their solidarity by sharing information through smartphones. And migrant use of the smartphones may affect their border crossing experiences, facilitate their journeys, help them to navigate uncertainties. And digital tools like mobile phones and social media are crucial for migrants, offering both opportunities and challenges as they enable communication with family, friends, and provide emotional support, maintain social connections across the borders. And smartphones have been an important for migrants to be strategically visible. And strategic visibility is sometimes as a tool to reach the state authorities, to ask for disembarkation, and human rights lawyer to share testimonies, and the media to share the experiences. Smartphones are excellent tool for visibility because knowledge spreads so quickly through the social media and creating public awareness and public pressure that can sometimes be successful with governments, some politicians, and practices. And I'm focusing on a case study from my field research. And this photo taken from me in the Gazi Baba Reception Center. Actually, this is the de facto detention center. Was a place where people attempting to cross the Balkans into the Europe were forcibly held in the appalling conditions in 2015. Located in the heart of the Skopje, it's highly visible due to its fenced-in area and hilltop location. However, as with many other detention and reception centers, those insides are largely invisible, surrounded by empty land, and this invisibility plays a significant role in the perpetuating and violence perpetrated in these places until someone makes them visible. Like many people fleeing Syria and seeking a heaven, 36-year-old interviewee attempted to reach Europe via Balkans in 2016, 2015, and during his journey, gangs attacked the migrants to steal their money. He was shot in the leg and spent days in the hospital. And then he was taken to the Gazi Baba center. He wanted to make the dire conditions and suffering of those living in there visible. And his smartphones became a crucial tool for publicizing them. The interviews shared his experience. And I'm quoting him, "In Macedonia, you can buy whatever you want with money. It's exactly like the Syria of the past, Assad. Syria of the past, and you know you can buy anything. So I bought a SIM card. There was an open conversation between me and the police because they are so corrupt. I actually used every evening time to act because they were mostly drunk. I started to taking pictures, videos, and things like that, and sending them to the people working in the media, and until we got the first report on the Orient TVs, like Syrian TV, about Ghazi Baba. Once it was published, it became very big news. Everyone wanted content from that jail, and the situation grew bigger and bigger. Then we made a plan to protest in the middle of the night around 2 a.m. We thought, we aren't sleeping well, so why should they? If the people agree with what the government does, then they are part of this. They should not sleep well alongside their kids. They should feel the same fear that we have. And we start protesting very loudly from the Ghazi Baba for 2 and 3 hours in the middle of the night. People got really scared for a few days, so they sent special police forces to surround the jail every night. Eventually, they called me personally and told me that, "Finish this. We are going to get you out." I told them, "No way. All of us must get out." After that, about 200 Macedonians gathered at the jail to protest the government over the Ghazi Baba. There are a lot of pictures from that time. They spent 2 hours there, and the parliament decided they were going to close the Ghazi Baba jail. They called me again, told me that I will be last one of the 500 people to be released, and actually was the last one to get out. I even remember playing football in the empty jail. Especially at that time, a very short time is closed, and it's closed in July, and then it's reopened in December. When I look at my interviews and data, I interviewed people on the move and people they reached Europe. I asked the questions about how their use of the smartphone practices, and then in my data show that there's a important evolving ICT practice in border crossing. And first of all, from private networks to TikTok. And 10 years ago, migrants relied almost exclusively on a word of mouth and close family networks to find smugglers. Today, TikTok has become a primary hub, and smugglers use it to advertise services, while migrants post success stories and public testimonials, making the process much more visible than the area of private Facebook groups. And secondly is shifting trust dynamics. Before, trust was built on the personal recommendation and long-standing reputations within a community, while personal networks still matter, migrants now rely on digital proof and public recommendations from other travelers on the move. And power and control. In the past, smugglers held more authority and often prohibited the phone use. And today, migrants use their devices to maintain autonomy because social media creates a degree of uncertainty. Migrants are less likely to surrender full control to smugglers using their phones to monitor their own journeys in real time. And conclusion, while border technologies advance to detect movements and migrants use smartphones to find invisible routes and evade surveillance, and conversely, they strategically use digital tools to become visible to state actors when they need to report human rights abuses or seek to help during the crisis. And the rise of social media and platforms like TikTok has fundamentally reshaped these experiences, practices, and turning migration experiences and smuggling services into highly shared digital content. And also it created huge knowledge accumulation. Thank you so much.